I don't know if Pete and Jake have the Good morning, I am John Harder. Coming all right. Good morning, I'm John Harder, coming to you with episode number 139 of live broadcast for the Kringle.cash system and spreading the wealth of TBC, ways of building wealthy, healthy, and happy communities. Of course, free energy. So, in this world where that we are in today, it has been geared up in such a way that that it seems like if we had 48 hours in a day as opposed to 24, that we would have time better to do everything that we need to get done in order to function a little bit more properly. It is, you know, being limited to 24-hour days seems like it's limitation that that would be nice if we could, you know, if we could overcome that, right? And we can. Maybe not in the sense that we can create, that we can expand time, as it were, because time itself just simply is, as is space and matter. Time, space, and matter. All three are they're one. They're one. And so now, how do we change all this? You see, the world has been geared up by people who were hiding in the shadows, and also were doing their utmost to hide their intentions, to hide their intentions of enslaving mankind. This has been a huge secret for many years, for humanity to be confused and just not know what's going on. And so in order to do this, they have spread the propaganda of, how should I say, misinformation about ourselves. They have, for, well, many hundreds of years and maybe even thousands of years, that they've been planning on how to enslave mankind. And how to enslave is to give us a warped concept of how things work. Give us a false idea about life. And this is our today. I believe biggest uh, is our biggest problem that we need to solve. Is that we're confused about how life works, and when we can solve that problem, we will realize that we have plenty of time to accomplish everything we need to accomplish. We will also realize that we have plenty of material things to an abundance of everything that we need. Now, those are fantastic ideas when you think about it. You know, just going on about life, doing what you enjoy doing, and the thing is, we very easily look at this world and we say, well, but there are so many people that are living off of welfare or whatever kind of thing and don't want to produce anything. And I think that is where our thinking is also kind of warped, because I don't really believe that there is any person that doesn't want to do anything. But you see, the system that we're living in, the system that has been controlling the world for so long, it has us thinking that you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and you can't, everything is illegal. You can't do anything that, this is the major problem. You see, people would like to start a business. They would like to do this and that and the other thing. There's so many things that people would get engaged and start doing, but it's illegal. It's illegal, and you say, well, you want to do this or that. Well, you have to have so much training and so much schooling and so much. You have to borrow so much money on such high interest and all of this kind of stuff that that logic simply tells you that it's not possible. Well, you see, that's what we've got to change. We've got to change that. Now, how do we do that? How do we change that? Well, let's look carefully at what has happened. How have we become so enslaved? How have we become so dependent upon what is legal or illegal, or where does all of this legal, this warped concept of legal stuff, legal or illegal, come from? Where does it come from? Well, it comes from the controllers. It comes from the people sitting in the shadows, pulling the strings. And yeah, they've been exposed now. We basically know who these people are. And if you don't know, then I would say update your education. Update your education. Because obviously you've been brainwashed by the system, by the education system that's been provided by those exact people that I'm talking about. And you think, well, no, our education system is provided by our government. Oh, is it? Is it? Is it provided by your government? Wow. If that's what you think, then you need to update your education, because obviously you are too brainwashed to have any idea what's going on. So, and if I stepped on your toes a little bit, I don't really want to apologize, because it really is up to you. It is up to you to educate yourself. It isn't up to your government. It isn't up to your government to educate your kids. It isn't up to your government to educate you. In fact, what should the government do? Nothing. Nothing. The government shouldn't do anything. There's nothing that the government should do. Just leave humanity alone and let us thrive. If we're left alone, things will work out just fine. Don't worry. Don't worry about us. Nobody needs to sit there with a big stick and slap everybody's hand who is trying to do something useful for humanity. It is not necessary. So, as I was saying, the controllers of this world, they have made humanity believe that we're basically evil and that we have to have a government that keeps us under control. And to have this government, we have to pay taxes. We have to have the government that says you can or can't do this or that, and you have to have everything really nitpicky, legalized or illegalized or whatever, because obviously this world is a very dangerous place if we're left alone. Because if we're left alone, we are so evil that we're just going to kill each other and rob each other, and basically there is no hope for humanity if there isn't a government that is controlling us. Folks, that is false information. That is false information. Now, this has all been set up. All governments, all of that has all been set up by the exact same people. A few, just a handful of Jews who have been manipulating humanity for thousands of years and have gained the control of monetary systems in the world. Yes, they've gained control of monetary systems just about in the entire world. Now, in order for that not to happen again, we, the people, must take control of our own lives. We can take control of our own lives. We can do this by switching the monetary system, by switching to a money that is not controlled by their central banks. And when we do, they have no power to control us because we don't need their money. The money is whereby they can control us. Now, if we switch to a monetary system that actually isn't even controlled by us either, it's really not controlled by anything. It's self-governed. It can't be manipulated by anybody. So these boom-bust cycles that we've always known that, oh, the economy is falling apart, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are in an economic crisis. Oh, shit. It's time for the banks to bail themselves out. Yep, that will solve the problem. The banks, they bail themselves out, and you know what? Life will be amazing after the banks have bailed themselves out, and the economy will just, it will just all click again. Really? Really? Wow. Wow. So, if you understand that when the banks create an economic crisis, and here's how they do it: print lots and lots and lots of money, fill the economy with plenty of money. And then people get confident. They borrow money to start businesses. They hire employees. They get economically confident, and so people get jobs. They get businesses going, and payments are being made at banks, and looks very good. Looks great. Then they start to starve the economy of money. They pull the money back out and starve the economy. And now jobs are being lost, businesses are falling apart, they can't make their payments, and then the banks, the central banks, come in and buy up properties at pennies on the dollar. And now they have made their cycle and really cashed in big on that cycle. You see, many times what has happened during these cycles that the smaller banks weren't able to survive either. You see, the entire aim was always to make everything more central control, to bring everything, shaping everything up to a one world government. That's what they've been trying to do. And then do this on the legal levels, and impoverishing humanity, so we have no chance of fighting back. And this all went quite well until Bitcoin arrived. When Bitcoin arrived, these banksters were kind of stunned, because this was something they could not control. They tried every nook and cranny, every tool they could find. They tried to penetrate the blockchain and take control of that technology, or take control of yeah, well, I guess we could call that technology, but not possible. The blockchain is, it's not something that you can gain access to. And this is what has made it possible for TBC to come along, TheBillionCoin. Now, the original Bitcoin was it was a brilliant idea. It was a great trailblazer for other cryptocurrencies, but it was by far not sufficient to change the economy on a global scale, obviously. And so when TBC came along, they saw this opportunity of creating a currency, or should I say a crypto money, that would have the capability, that would be sufficient, and have the power to give the power back to the people, to give the money, the monetary system, back to the people. And this is what TBC is doing. Okay, that's what TBC is doing. TBC was launched in March of 2016. Paul Fisher could tell you the exact date. Maybe Stephen Cuffey could as well. I don't have the exact date, and I'm not sure if that's really that important. It isn't to me. But what's important to me is that it is a monetary system that is plenty sufficient to take on the entire economy and be replace the monetary system, rather, that we are currently using, which is actually, by the way, a debt-based system. As I said earlier in this broadcast, that we were being enslaved. And that is because it is a debt-based system. The money gets borrowed into existence with the promise of the general public paying it back through taxes. This has been the scheme for many years. But now we have a monetary system that's available to all. I just said available to all, but there are a good number of people that may not have access to internet or cell phones or so on, which is actually a problem that we're also solving. Because there's a delegation that is going to be going to India. Stephen Coffey, a few people. I'm not quite sure everybody that's going, but Bitcoin Randy, Stephen Coffey, I think Bitcoin Scott. I'm not sure though if he's going or not. But anyhow, there's a few that are going, and they're going to be addressing that same problem, at least in Africa, somewhat, and in the near future, I believe we're going to be covering much more ground in those type of situations where people don't have that access. They don't have a way to get started, which is, which is a, how should we say, those are people we're trying to reach. Those are people we actually need to reach, because TBC is about actually ending poverty globally. And so that's what TBC was created for. Now, I want to speak on free energy just a little bit yet as well. And because the manipulators, they have been suppressing any good technology that came along, that people figured out and so on, to try and better the lives of people. Anything like that had to be oppressed, because it would take the control away from them. So now that these manipulators basically are in a headlock, and basically they have no, well, they are really struggling, to say the least. And we could probably just say, well, okay, if that's the case, if they've been found out and they're being dealt with and all of that stuff, well, then we're good, right? Then we don't actually, why would we even bother then changing the monetary system? Well, listen, the governments were at one time in control of the monetary systems. But these gangsters, they took over pretty easily. They took over pretty easily. And I think we should, from that piece of history, we should learn that we cannot trust the government to handle the money. We cannot trust the government to handle the money, because it's too easy for somebody to come along and to the leader and say, look, I've got a gun in this pocket here. It's got a name, it's got a bullet in it with your name on it, if you decide not to play the game my way. In the other pocket here, I have a bunch of money that you and your family can live rich. So take your pick. And this is how they've been gaining for most countries. And some leaders, believe it or not, resisted that. And when they did, it was wartime. That is what the invasion of Kuwait was about. That's what the war of Iraq was about. It wasn't about oil. It wasn't about, well, maybe oil too, somewhat. But what it was about was that the central bank had to get in there. And but this is, I mean, what I'm saying here is, we can see from that piece of history that we cannot trust the governments to handle the monetary system. So we need to take it in our own control as people and have a monetary system that can't be manipulated by anyone, and that there is sufficient of for all of us to use and be wealthy. And when we are able to take that control away from them, we will help each other and we will be just fine. Because people by nature help each other. People by nature are not greedy. People by nature are not evil as we have been taught. By nature, we help each other. By nature, we all want to thrive. By nature, we take the hand that reaches up for something. Tell me something. When you walk along the street and there is a beggar holding out their hand, what do you feel like doing? You feel like slapping that hand? Or do you feel like filling it with a very big bundle of cash or whatever help they need? You see, I know that they're showing videos of how people will actually go and beat up other people that are the homeless on the streets. But that's not because of our nature, because of who we are. That's because that's what they're being told to do. That's what they're being told to do. That comes from the training, from the system where that tells us that we are evil. You know, all of these people doing drugs on the streets. Why? Why are they doing drugs? Why are these people rebellious to the teachings of their parents? This all comes from somewhere, and it does not come from our own nature. That's not who we are. And we need to understand this. We need to believe that we are good by nature. We truly are. This idea that we are bad by nature is false. That is false. Energy is first pure. When the infinite mind, which we are all a part of, when it enters your mind, where you make the decision what you want to make of it, it's constant. It's constant. It's always there. You always have to decide what you want. And if you even just think back for a little bit, what your reaction is to people when they are in need. Think about it. Your very nature tells you to help. Your very nature gives you an inner longing to help people who are in need. You want every person to prosper. This is our nature. This is our nature. Love is first pure. Lovers first pure. And the only way that we turn it into negative energy and into something evil is when we're being pushed to do so. Through some propaganda, through false information, through various other ways of mental manipulation is what turns us that way. So let's wake up to this and let's realize that we are good people. We are good people. And we have a very good purpose, especially right now, to spread TBC to people everywhere and change the economy of this world from that of poverty and lack to abundance and peace, prosperity, and love. The statements, one of the statements in our mission statement states that we serve each other with love and respect. Isn't that just a wonderful statement? That we serve each other with love and respect? Isn't it just a warm feeling when you feel the respect of someone as opposed to disrespect and a cold shoulder? Isn't that just a wonderful feeling? Well, we all long for that. And you know what? We all have it in our nature to give that to each other. And so that is where we can overcome. Because when people understand this, we all want it. We all want it. We all do. We know that we do. And so that is really a wonderful, wonderful thing. We all have it in our nature. Oh, welcome aboard, Jacob. Thank you for joining me. That is where we. That's when people understand this. We all want it. We all do. So, what would you like to add to the we'll call it conversation so far? Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I can't hear him.
Well,
welcome aboard, Jacob.
I just need to go and.
I think my speaker is too quiet. I'm not able to hear you.
No, mine is too loud. I need to go and cut mine off.
There we go. I can hear you now. We'll call it conversation so far.
Well, I'd say you're absolutely right. I didn't comb my hair yet. I heard you wrong, so I pulled it out here. Anyway.
I think my speaker is too quiet.
It could. I don't. Yeah. Let me get a little closer. Okay. Somehow I hear a backlash here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's causing that. The video behind, is it muted?
Yeah, it's on. I didn't realize when I clicked that link that this would come up, and now I don't. Yeah, no, it won't go away. Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
I know. There, how's that?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. I don't hear that backlash now either. I had to figure out how to get it behind you and turn that off.
Okay.
The speaker. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so the free energy, what I have in mind is that once we are moved and settled in, I want to begin working on that. And soon, well, first I want to get a complete drawing because I'm going to need other people I'm going to need to get other people involved in order to build it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Peter's already started on his.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you know how he's making out?
Well, I haven't talked to him about that much, but he told me that he had it started, and I kind of in my garage. See, I haven't really started physically. Mentally, it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've got look for some materials, and then mine will be started as well as soon as I. Yeah, I was kind of busy yesterday chasing the truck around, and getting that taken care of. But today, as far as I know, I haven't got anything else to do, so I'd like to get started on it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that will be great. I can't wait to see a prototype wherever it comes from, whether it's you that gets it done first, or Pete, or me, or.
No, it don't matter to me. I'm not in no race. I'm just making it work.
Yeah, but right now I want to. I got this idea about the project about TBC to see if I can get my foot in the door on these major resorts to get to start seeing if I can get them to get TBC in on their promotions.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Pete is in competition with his son. He saw it, and he says, well, let's see who got his done first. Who'll have one first?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, he come over there.
So Peter got the idea too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he's quite a character, that one. Yeah. Yeah, he's building one too. So there should be one soon.
Okay. Well, that'll be great. Once we see one and we have a prototype that we can test, that's when we'll really be able to nail down what exactly we need to build.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got a couple of generators, different ones that I can hook up to, and I believe Pete does too. At least one.
Okay.
That he can, yeah, and see how much power is behind it. Yeah. So like that is all stuff that has to be ironed out there, like what's the torque on it and so forth, even, and then it's going to still take some time.
Yeah, by the time we know what diameter we need for the RPMs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But Pete actually did have a good idea. You could stack him up, and I believe that the way it's actually going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll work. It sounds promising. It's actually, talking to him about it was a little educational. Can you hear it?
Yeah, he has great ideas too. You know what I was wondering, if would it be worth launching like to get money to launch a
no, I don't.
coin.
You stop there for a little bit. To get money for.
Yeah, to get funding.
Oh, funding, yeah. I don't know. It would not hurt. Because make a prototype, and that is a great help, but prototypes, they can be much smaller than what you actually can. You may not be able to use them for anything other than for show, but that's how most things start if you're not sure that it may or may not work. So funding would always make things easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to cut this off because I've got a guy coming here in just a few minutes.
Okay.
He's actually the guy we're going to be renting from, and so he's coming here to draw up the contract and stuff like that. So,
okay. And I'll go for
thank
breakfast.
you very much for coming on with me, and hopefully we can do this again sometime and have a full session about all this.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are watching this video and don't know what TBC is or what we're trying to do here, exactly what we're trying to accomplish, visit the links below. There's contact links. You can contact me. You can gain a lot of education from what is in the description and the links. And so I'm going to leave that to you. You can educate yourself. I mean, after all, if you don't have any interest in it, obviously I can't educate you. I can lead you to the information, but you're going to have to absorb it, right? So with that said, thank you very much, Jacob. And I want to acknowledge the people that came on here as well, which is Susan Harder. Thank you very much for joining us. And Moussa, thank you also very much. Marjorie, thank you for moderating. And then we got Haney. Thank you very much for tuning in as well. Really appreciate it. And so we didn't get very much in on this about the free energy units that we talked about a little bit. We're going to have a much more detailed discussion about that another time. So hopefully you can tune in then if that interests you. So thank you very much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.